Central Kentucky College football coach is happy to be alive today.
Yeah, Walt went into cardiac arrest on this day last year. New tonight, WKYT's Lexi Martin talked with him as he reflects on this day a year later.
1 year ago today, EKU head football coach Walt remembers a normal Sunday morning, preparing for Monday meetings until
4 or 5 days later, waking up in the hospital.
Coach Wells suffered a heart attack in his office. He was found without a pulse. EKU athletic trainers used an AED machine and CPR to keep his heart pumping until paramedics arrived.
And the miracle of all the people that were around me. And, you know, the miracle is that God put all those people right where they needed to be. And those people were trained in their job, and they did exactly what they were trained to do. Without fault.
Now, reflecting 1 year later, Coach Wells says he tries to make every minute count.
You know, you don't want to waste minutes, and you know, because it can be taken. You know, you realize how quickly things can be taken away from, and your time on earth is done.
And Coach didn't waste any time getting back to the team. 1 week after his heart attack, he was at practice with a cracked sternum and broken ribs, a result of the CPR.
You know, they say if they don't crack your ribs and break your sternum, they're probably not saving your life.
Coach Wells credits his survival to the people and protocols in place around him, but he says going to the doctor regularly is just as important.
It's very important that people understand you're not invincible. You're not going to be the one that avoids everything, and go get checked out.
Lexi Martin, WKYT.
This block, certainly a block of folks that are so lucky and so thankful that people were around them to be able to respond and react in the appropriate way, for sure.
And a new lease on life for him, and he's getting ready for another season now. So
bring it on, right?
You got it.
Well,